The USSR in Afghanistan. The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or USSR, played a very significant role in the country of Afghanistan throughout the Cold War. In April 1978, Afghanistan's government was overthrown by the nation's military. Two political parties, known as the Khalq, or masses, and the Parcham, or flag, then took over. Both of these parties held Marxist-Leninist views. Muslim insurgencies rose up against Afghanistan's new government due to these controversial communist policies. Many of these insurgencies were based on tribal guerrilla warfare tactics. Soviet involvement soon followed. The People's Democratic Party of Afghanistan encountered mass resentment from the Muslim people and other anti-communist groups. The party quickly established diplomatic relations with the Soviet Union in hopes of gaining support against these domestic oppositions. The Soviet Union considered Afghanistan to be one of its client states, or subordinates. To further assist Afghanistan's new communist government, the Soviet Union sent troops. Soviet invasion began in December 1979. The USSR sent approximately 30,000 troops into Afghan territory as aid to the new communist government. Despite mass amounts of military force, Muslim guerrilla warfare and tribal resistance soon led both sides to a stalemate. Soviet occupation of Afghanistan continued. Throughout the course of the war, over 100,000 Soviet troops were sent to counter the attacks of anti-communist groups. The Muslim rebels, known commonly as mujahideen, or strugglers, managed to elude Soviet forces for some time. Despite the Soviets' use of advanced technology and strategies, their attempts to crush the Muslim insurgency continuously failed. Soviet elimination of the mujahideen reached its peak in 1982. The Soviet army employed tactics to counter the rebellions, which included bombings and depopulation of rural areas. Airstrikes from the USSR were common, and many even targeted Muslim civilians and caravans. Many Afghans, in an attempt to avoid further conflict, fled to the neighboring countries of Iran and Pakistan. By the end of that year alone, as many as 1.5 million Afghan refugees fled to Iran, and 2.8 million fled to Pakistan. Thanks to foreign aid from various countries, the Muslim mujahideen were eventually able to neutralize Soviet forces. Pakistan and the United States were the principal providers of aid to the rebels in the form of supplies, weapons, information, and defense. Although the mujahideen were fragmented, largely unorganized, and somewhat ineffective, they were still able to successfully counter Soviet air power with the use of modern equipment and anti-aircraft missiles supplied by the United States. Improvement in rebel arms and force occurred soon after. As a result of foreign aid, mainly from Pakistan and the United States, the military capacity of the rebels grew. In addition, the experience gained from such a prolonged period of warfare with the Soviet Union granted the Muslims with new and improved tactics and strategies. Soviet withdrawal began starting in 1988, when an international agreement was signed by Pakistan, the United States, Afghanistan, and the USSR. This document ensured the immediate and permanent withdrawal of Soviet troops from Afghan territory. It also returned Afghanistan's territory to its former status as a non-aligned or somewhat neutral nation. The period after the complete and total withdrawal of Soviet troops from Afghanistan began in April 1992. Afghanistan's communist president, Mohammad Najibullah, was overthrown following the war, and the communist capital of Kabul was besieged by Muslim and anti-communist forces. The rebel factions established a transitional government and eventually formed a new Islamic state. This state still exists today and is known formally as the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. Mahalo for watching.